right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, everybody, welcome on into NorCal Sports Network. It's Wednesday night, July 30th, and the Giants go 0 for 6 at home, just in time for the trade deadline. So we'll get into that. We'll get into the Giants tanking, collapsing, whatever you want to call it. Just a free fall. And we'll also talk about the trade deadline coming up tomorrow at 3 o'clock Pacific. And, or is that 3 o'clock Pacific? I think it is. I think it's 6 o'clock Eastern. I'll double check that again. But we'll talk about the trade deadline. We'll talk about the Tyler Rogers trade today. But let us thank our sponsor of the show, Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, as always, located in Marin, licensed in all of California. Give Chapman Law Group a call for all your legal needs. You got a personal injury situation? Give them a call. The call's free. The consultation's free. Don't settle with an insurance carrier before calling Chapman Law Group at 415-613-9483 and let them know NorCal Sports Network sent you. All right, boys. I don't know where to begin, but the Giants need to call Roto Rooter, flush all their troubles down the drain. I mean, they look bad, guys, really bad. They look lifeless. They look rudderless. They look hopeless. They look, what other adjective you could come up with, the Giants, that doesn't sound good, look it. Throw it to you guys. Give us your thoughts on today's game, the 2-1 loss in extras, and what it all means. Los, you're joining us as one of our original co-hosts, and he's back tonight. And guys, I had to pay him a lot to bring him in tonight. I had to pay these guys double tonight.
Secure money.
There we go.
No, I mean, I'm actually going to surprisingly start off positive and optimistic, believe it or not. Because here's the thing. Yeah, I know. Hold the fort. Hold the presses. Los is coming in positive. Like, what is he?
Gosh.
What is he? I don't want to be predictable.
It's not a leap year coming up. Do we have a leap year this year? Come on, what's going on?
No, but this is why I say what I'm going to say from an optimistic point of view is that this collapse, and it is a collapse, is going to force them to do what we've been wanting them to do all along anyway, because they were not going to sell. They were going to buy. They were going to buy a rental player. They were going to buy some average player. They were going to maybe make the playoffs, maybe not. They were not going to compete for a championship, that's for sure. So in a weird way, this epic collapse is going to force them to do exactly what we've been wanting them to do for years. And that's hopefully the start of selling off some pieces. Some of them are going to be dead weight pieces that we've been wanting gone for a while. And some of them are going to be good players. Look, the market is hot right now. They just got a pretty good haul back for Tyler Rogers. So what can they get back for Doval? God, what can they get back for Robbie Ray? So, I think, in a strange type of weird turn, that this may be good for the Giants. Dan, originally when we did the show, we were quietly and then more loudly as each show and each episode went. We were pulling for Farhan to lose. Why? Because we wanted him out of there. So, I don't know if we wanted the Giants to lose at this point, but it's here. It is what it is. The team is showing what it's made of, and may the selling begin.
May the selling begin. Lou, I'm sure you were entertained and glued to your seat today.
It
Probably
was
on the edge of your seat with the excitement of that hitting. Didn't they bring in another 3 hits after 2 last night? Did they get 3 hits today, or what they end up
I
with?
thought they got 5, didn't they?
Ooh,
What
that's
they
a
end
lot
up
for
with?
them.
And that's 10 innings. Oh no, 6 through.
Oh wow!
Through 10 innings.
I saw 3 at one point, and I
Yeah,
thought,
it
wow,
was
hey,
5, but they
then-
counted Schmidt's screw up in the 10th when
Oh,
the Giants got the big break as a base hit. That's correct. So it was 6. I was off. Today sort of day where I've never seen KMBR, the game, finally get off the homer bandwagon and actually admit what we've been saying the whole time. This team's not good. They're in real bad shape. And, listening to KMBR today was just a good change where we've been saying the same thing. When you do highlights of a trade that Yaz made, and it wasn't the best one in the game, they made it like it was the greatest thing. I guess they didn't watch the game because Brian Reynolds' catch today was better. But typical Giants homers, they talk about, that's all they had to talk about. They don't talk about the screw up. They don't talk about the mental game. I think this whole entire homestand means one thing. Melvin and all the coaches are going to be gone. And I think Buster doesn't need to have balls to do it. The public is embarrassed. I've never seen a team. I mean, this is the end of the month. And I heard a stat today that, preseason spring training means nothing because, as Dan says, once you go out on the field, everything changes. But in this month where the Giants couldn't score, they did 3 stolen base attempts. I'm sorry, not one game, but for the whole month. They attempted to steal 3 stolen bases. Okay. When you can't hit, you can't score, you can't do anything. You got to create a run some way. That's a joke. Out of that, there was 63 times where the Giants had either first and third, or they had a guy at first with nobody out, and they only did 2 bunts. So that tells me there's a problem with the coaching. And I know the players are trying, but a lot of it, you got to blame the top. So I think Melvin, Williams, Pat, I think they're all gone. I think they're all going to, last the year. And then Buster's going to realize, I personally don't think Buster's even going to make it 3 years, because why would you want to be part of a team where, as Dan said the other day, you already have 4 huge contracts. And the greatest part, I heard today, Devers' biggest concern is he doesn't like playing in the cold. Are you kidding me? We have a guy that doesn't want to play in the cold? Well, sorry, you're in San Francisco. In San Francisco this month, there were 2 days where the sun came out. It was one of the coldest things, coldest summers I've ever experienced out here. I mean, you got to be bungled up like it's, January, February. So when you start hearing players say, oh, it's so cold, I don't know if I want to play here, and you're stuck with them 7 years, there's just so many excuses. The same thing. Maybe Lee's not that good a player. Webb's today was Webb was like, he wasn't himself. He goes, I could have done better. Well, he didn't do better. You walked 4 guys. You had 109 pitches. You were only through 5. I think this is worse than we are seeing it right now. And at Buster, I want him to get rid of at least 4 or 5 players, because play the youth now. There's no excuse. This team's not going to make the playoffs. They're 6 behind San Diego. I thought what San Diego said is, hey, guys, we just won 6 straight. He told our GM, whatever it takes, you get us to the finish line. And literally, he said, who's the star right fielder again? Their stud, who leads off for them.
For who?
Dan?
for who?
For the Padres.
Oh, Tatis.
Yeah, Tatis said this. And then guess what happens an hour later? Ohtani takes himself out of the ball game, has a problem, real tightness, says, hey, and now they're saying he might not pitch for 3 or 4 times. San Diego might catch the Dodgers.
Said he had cramps. It was cramps. They dodged a bullet. That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. But it's just sort of ironic. Here it is early in the year, San Diego, their manager, the ownership problems, they got problems all over. Guys, they're right there. They're right there. Why, here we are talking about the Giants. They're so far away. I'll tell you the truth, I'm excited football starting because I don't have to deal with this. watching the Giants. It's one of those things. I'd rather have fun seeing the Niners do something positive with all their young people and look toward the future. Because right now, the Giants' future, I can't see. I just don't know what's happening, Dan. Back to you.
We talk about the Giants' future, guys. First of all, let's just do a quick recap on this game today, and then we'll get off of it. I don't think too many people are really caring too much more about the games itself as we see them just kind of imploding. But the Giants lost today 2-1. Logan Webb was excellent. He came back and pitched a really good game. He wasn't able to go as deep because of the pitching, the pitch limit. But Webb today, I got to pull up the box score. It seems like he had double-digit strikeouts, if I recall.
11.
11. Okay. So Webb went 5 2/3, only gave up 5 hits, walked 4, though, uncharacteristically. I thought that was why he threw 109 pitches in less than 6 innings. That's what got him. But the offense continues to sputter. At the top of the lineup, Ramos 1 for 5, 2 Ks. Devers 0 for 3, 2 Ks. Adames 1 for 4, 2 Ks. Chapman 0 for 4, 2 Ks. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Giants top 4. Giants top 4. Yay! So the Giants 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Giants strike out 8 times the top 4 guys. That's great. The other rest of the lineup only two times. Schmidt once and Bailey once. But 6 hits, anemic offense, and they get swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates, who came into town winning only 13 games on the road, now have won 16 road games. So we just get this out of the way. Giants, anything positive today that came from the Giants, I would say was Logan Webb, came back, bounced back, even though it was the Pirates. So you take a little bit with a grain of salt. They had opportunities, but they couldn't get the runs in with runners in scoring position because of the walks. Dominic Smith had a couple of good at-bats where he got a couple of hits. And then I guess the other positive you might look at is Duvall pitched really well in his 1 inning, struck out 3 in 16 pitches, 12 strikes. That's helpful for the trade. Yaz made a really nice catch and had a couple of nice bunts. So if you can push Yaz out there as a 4th outfielder for defensive purposes to some team, the Giants owe him $3 million. Maybe you get a prospect back if the Giants are willing to pay 2/3 of the salary and somebody only has to pay $1 million. Maybe you pay the whole doggone thing. Say, look, we'll give them to you for free. Give us your number 9 prospect. I don't know.
And you know what? They had another mental screw up today with Walker and the play at the plate right in front of him. And this is what I think is pissing Giants fans off the most. If you are limited physically, which the Giants are, they don't have speed, they don't have power, they don't really have a lot of athletic ability. If you don't have any of those 3, you better sure as hell be a fundamentally tightened up, high IQ team. And when you're neither, when you're not in shape and you're dumb, man,
dumb. Yeah,
don't try to step to no female if you're out of shape and you're dumb. And that's what the Giants are right now. Like their IQ for baseball, and it's not everybody, but it just takes a few to make it look bad for everybody else. So they are just, that's why I said the word collapse fits with them. This is a collapse of epic proportions. Their manager is not holding anybody accountable, which somebody should hold him accountable for not doing that. So it's just a trickle-down effect. It starts at the top. We all wanted to give Buster some love and flowers for what he was as a player. I mentioned it very early in the year when they first hired him. I said Derek Jeter was a great player. Doesn't mean he's going to be a great front office guy. Now, I think Buster's going to learn from his mistakes. And if he continues to sell in the next 24 hours, then he's one step ahead of the previous regime.
Yeah. And I'm going to flag this comment by Jill so we pull this up later. I like that comment. But Guys, I meant to rewind the TV today and go back and look at the play when the Pirates scored their second run. Was that the 10th inning when they got the run?
Yes, sir.
That when Walker, or
Yeah,
who was
with
it?
one
Or
out,
who was
with
on the
one out.
mound that threw
Walker.
it to? Is that the 10th inning?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I meant to rewind it and I forgot. I was getting slammed with calls or text all day and I was getting distracted. I had 4,000 texts, it seems like, from everybody and their brothers let me know about the Rogers trade. Like, guys, I appreciate the notifications when something happens, but believe me, I have my Twitter notifications bells on. I get live texts from John Heyman, Bob Nightingale, and Jeff Passan with anything that happens in baseball. So I don't need everybody to tell me.
Don't all our friends do that? Like they think they were like in a cabin somewhere in the boonies and we don't have access to the internet, you know? I know mine can be shady sometimes, but yeah, you're right. It's like boom, boom. Oh, Tyler
I
Rogers
was
got
like,
traded.
oh
Rogers got
gosh,
traded.
I got people
Oh,
calling
shit.
me. I got texts coming. I'm like, hey, did you see Rogers got traded? Yeah, I already did a video on it. It's been out for an hour. It's like, okay.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Yeah. I can't run a channel here on YouTube and be like the last guy in line to find out. But by the way, nice background there, Los, and a little bit more clearer tonight and coming in sharper.
You know, I'm having to get used to this setup. The other computer where I had a lot of technical difficulties. Let's just say we all know that. So I'm on the wifey's new state-of-the-art computer in the master. I hate wearing this headset though. Please, nobody ask for 2 tacos and a jumbo jack. I'll get mad. But other than that, it's as long as I don't fade out, it's all good.
Yeah, I guess I'm a pretty bad offender of that too. We're in a text group and we all get the news and everybody's pumping it out there quick. I'm one of the guys that likes to break news too.
That is true. Let
Yeah.
me before we get on to another topic, let me just ask everybody and you guys this straight up. Do you think Eldridge comes up in the next week or so?
No, I think he comes
No?
up in 2 weeks. A week or so, yes. I think August 16th would be where he could come up and stay under his. It's 45 days or 100, and I've got the number right here, guys. If from Major League Baseball, if let me tell you the parameters of that, and just 1 second here while I pull through. Okay, where is it? Okay, here it is. Rookie eligibility to remain a rookie for 2026, which I think the Giants would be foolish not to, because if he can come up and have a successful rookie campaign, they might be able to pull an extra draft pick. So here's the deal. A player shall be considered a rookie unless he has exceeded any of the following thresholds in a previous season: 130 at bats or 50 innings pitched in the majors, 45 total days, point number 2, on the active roster. So I don't think he's coming up until the max he can spend is 44 days on the roster. Okay. So that's right around August 16th or 17th. That's why I've been predicting he'll be in San Diego. And a player must have rookie eligibility to be considered for any MLB rookie awards, such as NL Player, Rookie of the Year. Okay. So 130 at bats. You can manage the at bats. You can't manage, if you bring them up too early, then you have to send them, you got to send them back down earlier. So I think if they bring him up so that he can maximum spend 44 days on the roster, and don't give him 130 at bats, you're not going anywhere. Give him 128, 29 at bats. And I don't know if that's plate appearances. It says at bats. So I don't know how, what happens if he's walks 10 times? Does that count as at bats for him? So
that's a good point.
I don't know.
How crazy would it be if they get rid of about another 5 to 6 players, some pretty big names, and they do go pretty young, and they start winning? Like the Pirates have a very young team. Again, I bring this up a lot. I don't know why there's a perception that 23, 24, 25-year-old guys, when that's the majority of your roster, just can't win. Like there's this fallacy that you got to be in your 30s to be successful. Don't be surprised if they do get rid of some guys and some young guys like Grant McCrae and some other youngs like Eldridge. They come up with no pressure at all because they're not expected to do anything, and they do well.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that would be
something.
awesome. That would be awesome.
Yep.
Let me go back to the play in the 10th inning again, because we talk about play for dummies. Okay, Buster Posey, Hall of Fame catcher, going to be in the Hall of Fame, hopefully first ballot. Bob Melvin, many, many years in the big leagues as a catcher. I wanted to rewind it and video it and see what Bailey was doing on that play, the ball that went to Walker and he turns, because a good, solid catcher. I was taught this in Little League, by my manager. I wasn't a catcher, but the catcher is the captain of the entire, what's going on in the infield. That play, a bouncer back to with bases loaded, the catcher pops up immediately.
Yep, gets rid of his mask
and gets on a foot, and he's yelling, "Home, home, 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 home." That it's just like that. You have to yell above the crowd. He sees the play. He knows that. I guess it wasn't even bases loaded. It was first and third. The runner on first was attempting a steal. The catcher sees that. The pitcher does not. The pitcher doesn't see that. That's why Walker turned around thinking, I got a double play. But he's got to be yelling home, Bailey.
Yep.
And I don't think he did that. Maybe he did, and the crowd noise snuffed out Walker being able to hear him. But you have got to be aggressive as a catcher and get your butt up. Like you talk about Bailey's pop time. He's got to be on home plate immediately. As soon as that ball is hit and he sees, he's got to be yelling home as loud as he can. So that's another problem. And I don't know if Bailey didn't do that, Melvin should be all over Bailey.
He should.
You got to know that.
Basic baseball again.
It's about accountability, and there isn't much on this team. Go ahead, Lou.
No, I was reading Robert's comment saying, no, these guys aren't dummy. They're just not baseball smart. When you have your leadoff hitter, sort of face of the Giants, and he makes two mistakes exactly almost the same 48 hours apart, and they don't do anything, that's a problem. Today's thing, that was a problem. I have another thing, and I know it's more controversial, but if you watch the 10th inning, when Schmidt hit the ball, he basically, threw his bat down. He was upset. Lee never thought about going to third. If he gets a third, it changes the game. They had a huge break on that. I thought the ball was sort of far enough. If you saw the guy in left field, he goes, "Where's the ball?" It wasn't like he dropped it. He never saw it. And this is something that Dan talks about, base running with the Giants is the worst in baseball. So we're not saying that these guys are dumb. They just don't know baseball etiquette. How do you not know an infield fly rule when you're in the pros? That's something that happens in T-ball when you're 5 years old. How do you not know basic things where if a guy like this is lost, that you should go to third? Another problem with the lead, another base running thing.
You can't. But Lou, if he ran to third and that ball was caught, you doubled up.
Yeah, but if you watch the replay, the guy's like this. He's asking, "Where's the ball? Where's the ball?"
But yeah, exactly. But you still don't know if he could catch it. He threw his glove out. You never know. Plus, you could get if I'm out there.
You think he was?
I could deke somebody into thinking I can't see the ball.
Yeah, but
you got to be careful. You got to be careful.
It was pretty obvious. All right, well, you're giving Lee too much benefit. But I'm just saying, hey, I know he didn't do it. He went to third. But when things are going bad, that's another example. And then worse about this play is the play happens. Okay, why doesn't Melvin go to the pitcher, bring everybody in, and calm him down? Explain to him. It's still another learning thing. I don't give a shit if it's after 100. It's still a learning thing. I don't think he realized what he even did wrong until after the inning ended.
Ramos?
No, not Ramos. I'm just bringing up the example of Walker. He didn't know that he should have gone to home. Like you know what I mean? The mistake happened. That's where the manager goes out, brings everybody in. Hey, do you understand it for next time? That's the one thing about the Giants. We're talking about when they make a mistake, nobody takes care of the mistake, tells the people they made a mistake, and then they try to make it better. They don't do that. It just goes in one ear and out the other. And, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, you get a huge break after the fact that you gave him a free run without basically a base hit, and then you can't even convert. You know, you get a perfect bunt, runners at first and second, one out. Again, what happens?
They had runners in second and third in the 10th with one out.
And because they bunted them over, and then they struck out.
The last two guys struck out, right?
Well, how about this? After a great bunt, you do have guys on the bench, last time I looked, that can give you a fly ball. Okay? I'm sorry. But, you know, you got to do
who struck out to end the game. It was Ramos, right?
And Devers.
No.
Oh, no, yeah, but no, Bailey.
Up.
It was Bailey and then Ramos.
Well, yeah.
You trying to tell me you can't pitch hit for Bailey?
God.
He struck out the other night in the same situation.
Yeah, I don't know why you couldn't pinch hit for Bailey. Who was on the bench?
Second, third. All you need is a fly ball. Who was on there was Lee and Casey. Were the two good runners.
Casey was on base, yeah, but you had Flores on the bench who could – that's the time you bring up Flores, second and third. I don't want to see Flores with a man on first because the possibility of a double
base
play.
Hit wins the game. A fly ball ties the game.
Yeah,
so your best
I don't know why you
keep
go
on the bench.
You went with a 200 hitter. I mean, isn't that what Flores is on the bench for?
Again, it's Melvin. I'm just telling you, Melvin thinks he's back in 2012.
Robert, of course he's capable of getting a hit, and you're capable of getting a hit up there too. If you go up there and stick your bat out there, it might just hit it. Look,
that's Robert's favorite word. That's Robert's favorite word. Capable.
Capable. The Giants are capable of winning their next 53 games, but they're probably won't
capable
win more
of losing their next 53
they're capable
as well.
of losing. They're probably more capable of losing the next 53 than winning the next 53. But yeah, this is the team has gone from 12-4 to 54-55, and they're 6 games behind the Padres. They trail 2 other teams ahead of them, St. Louis and Cincinnati.
Cincinnati made 3 trades today.
Yeah, the Giants, I'm expecting the Giants should be making a trade during this show, I would hope. Hold on. You guys carry. My dog wants in. He's locked out.
I got it.
Here's something interesting, Lou.
Yeah.
That I heard today, and I wrote down because I wanted to bring it on the show.
You happy, Buster boy?
In May, during a 15-game stretch, the Giants scored 30 runs. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. In 15 games in May, the Giants scored 30 runs. You don't have to be a math genius to figure out that's 2 runs a game. They were 7-8 in those games. 7-8, because their pitching was so dominant early. And you know, people will ask me, why are you so negative on the Giants, Los, when it was early? Is because their margin for error was so small. They had to pitch damn near perfect to win games. And I just knew that this pitching staff was not going to be able to hold up that standard. And that's why I said they have got to be able to hit the ball at some point. Now, let's fast forward it to where they're at right now. In 15 games, the Giants this month have scored 55 runs, significantly more than the 30 back in May. Guess what the record is? With 25 more runs in 15 games than in May. The record is 2-13. Why? Because the pitching is starting to fall apart. Bingo. Dan hit it.
Did I not say this was going to happen?
You hit it right on the head. You were specific with your point. Me and Lou were more kind of in general thinking we weren't believers, but you specifically said it's not going to be their hitting that falters, which it's faltered since day 1 of the season pretty much. You said their pitching, which was at the top of the league at that time, and that takes a lot of balls to say when something's going really good that it's going to falter. And that's why we are where we are.
Here, I got a better thing for you. Since the
Oh,
Devers
come
trade,
on.
the Giants are the worst in baseball record-wise. Let me repeat that. Since the Devers trade, the Giants are the worst. That's right, Robert. Worst in baseball record-wise.
Hey, by the way, just a few updates. About 25 minutes ago, the Houston Astros have acquired Ramon Urias from the Orioles, third baseman. I'm kind of shocked that guys like Casey Schmidt are not being made available as a third baseman to some of these teams. The guy's a better third baseman than any of these guys defensively that are getting traded. And offensively, he's right up there with some of these other guys. Not that he's anything of a great hitter, but the Giants, have this I don't know what their plan is with this, but let's talk a little bit about this trade today. We have a poll out right now on up on the show, and it was grading the trade. So we got an opportunity to let's see how many people have answered.
Did you put
the
it in
poll
the trade
here.
machine to see how close it was? Since last night people were saying, "Oh, the trade machine's not even close."
Oh yeah, we could do that. It's probably pretty in favor of the Giants because I think the Giants did pretty well on this trade. But let me see if I can find the actual. Okay, we've got 159 votes. How would you grade the Rodgers trade? A, B, C, or D? So currently, we got 160 votes out there. 50% are saying it's an A. So you got three players. None of them are going to probably be stars. But one thing that is very nice is the kid Drew Gilbert that the Giants got in this deal. He's a 24, 25-year-old outfielder, former first-round pick. He only has a 16% strikeout rate in AAA this year.
Like him already.
So that is something the Giants may be looking at trying to do and getting off of this high strikeout 25% deal. So you could see Yaz get moved and Gilbert be ready to take over right field right away. And I would do that. I would just get these young guys in. Look, you got opportunities. I can name 10 guys without batting an eye how many Giants players could be or should be up in a deal. You're looking at guys like Matos, Yaz, there's 2, Luciano, there's 3, Flores, 4. You got Verlander, 5. I think Verlander's going to get dealt. Robbie Ray should get dealt. That's 6. Patrick Bailey, in my opinion, should get dealt because I think you can start building for next year. I've named 7 guys, bullpen guys that could go. Duvall is another guy that needs to go. That's 8. You can I would try to trade some of these higher contract guys and move off of them. The only thing I like about Jung-Hoo Lee is he strikes out only like 10% of the time. So if he could figure out, start going the other way like he did the other night, if he could start laying down bunts when they're giving him a bunt. Look, it doesn't matter if it's a line drive at 108 miles an hour that falls in or it's a bunt. As long as you get on first base and it's a hit, who cares? And the more you bunt, the more it opens up the field for you. So there's a lot of guys that can get dealt on this team.
Dan, if Ramos ends up staying, and I think it's a long shot that he goes, I think he's part of the future. What do you think about moving him back to right field?
Yes.
I don't remember him having a lot of defensive lapses in right field. He just looks a lot more natural out there. There's, quite frankly, less balls hit out that way. I know it seems like it's a more difficult position because of right center and triples alley, but he just looked a lot more natural in right than in left. And the Giants should see that and understand that and make that move on their own. I mean, I don't know if they will or won't, but I'd like to see him in right.
Yeah, and Ramos has had a rough year defensively. He's had a very rough year on the base pass. You could see it's in his head. They talked to him last night in the clubhouse, the reporters. You could just see he's really down. He feels like he's trying to press too hard. He goes, I just don't want to make a mistake out there. I'm really trying hard not to make. And then it's kind of like when you tell a kid, okay, don't go over this yellow line. What's the first thing they want to do? They want to step over the line. If you're thinking negatively, like, don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake. I can tell you, as a field goal kicker in high school and college, when my head got screwed up and I started thinking, I can't miss it, instead of, I'm going to go put this right through the frickin' uprights. This thing's going right down the middle, baby. And when I missed a kick, the next kick, that's why it's such a mental game. You have to just forget about it. But when I got into my head and started thinking, I can't miss this kick again, what did I do? I missed the kick. When I was confident, like my senior year in high school, I didn't miss a kick because I knew I was good and I was going to make the kicks. My college year, my first year in college, I made my first kick and I went on to miss 8 straight field goals. And after about the second one, I was just like, it was mental. It was all mental because I was thinking I can't make a mistake. That's what Ramos is doing. And that's why looks like he's lost out there.
Yeah.
And that's where coaching has to come in and say, don't be thinking about making mistakes. You're a good ball player. Get out there and just play your game, play loose, and just, mentally get this guy to play. And, you talk to a lot of ball players and they'll all tell you the game's like 90% mental.
Yep. Absolutely true. And I personally love the deal because anytime you can get 3 prospects back, like if one hits, now you're playing percentages here. So if one hits and he does a pretty good job, it's a pretty even trade. Like Rogers is a free agent, by the way. Don't be surprised if he comes back next year.
I was going to bring that up. They got something for nothing.
Right.
He could be gone. Yeah. This is why we have 2 other guys that are going to be free agents. That's why we always refer to as rental players. The Mets are using him as a rental. If you saw, they got the kid from Baltimore, and now they just got the closer from who's at the Cardinals. So they now have set up their 6th, 7th, 8th, sort of how Kansas City was when the Giants beat them in 2014. That game, they now have set up the Mets. You have a great gun, a guy that has, I think he had 18 saves. Then you have Rogers, who's goofy, and then you have Diaz finishing. They now have the best bullpen in the major leagues, the way it's set up.
Diaz will be the closer. Helsley will be the 8th inning guy, most likely, and Rogers will be the 7th.
Yeah. That's nice. But you know what?
Look at the guy. Go ahead.
I was going to say, sorry, Buster and the GM need to be on the phones late into tonight. Because what we've always preached on here is when you are in the selling position, you have big time leverage. And I'll use my real estate analogy. When you're the seller of a house and you got a nice house in a nice neighborhood and there's 15 to 20 offers on there, you can kind of cherry pick on who's going to be the highest bidder, close the fastest. So the Giants, if they do in fact go off and start selling, he should be calling every contender right now. What do you need? What do you want? Who do you like on our roster? And they should have somebody in mind who they want to poach off of their roster. And they're going to initially say, well, we like this guy. We'll give you this. And Buster could say, nah, I want this person because another team is going to give us more. That's the leverage that the Giants never have exercised because they have refused to sell. And now they're in a position to do it and get some really good players from other teams. They may be young, but again, it's percentages. You get 3 for 1, percentages are some of those are going to hit.
So let me ask you guys this. If you're Buster Posey, you've already, the word's out there that Duvall, they're open to trading Duvall. Who else are you telling people that you're open to without making it maybe totally public?
Well, Dan, I told you 2 nights ago, and you go, what? I told you the Yankees called the Giants about Rodriguez, a young fireballer because that's what they need. We also talked about last night that the Mets wanted Duvall, but obviously the Giants said no, and then they came back and they got Rogers. You remember we were talking about that was sort of the big rumor. So I know what you're saying. I don't know. I mean, the Giants, this is the first time in so long. I don't know if they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Because Farhan goes, no, never did it. Now they have it. I think, and you brought this up, everyone should be on the trading deadline. This team's not that good. We got to stop thinking.
Oh, here we go. Breaking. Hold on.
Yep.
Seattle Mariners are in agreement on a deal to acquire third baseman Eugenio Suarez from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Look out for the Seattle Mariners, folks. The Seattle Mariners may be a team to beat in the American League. They have just added Eugenio Suarez, the power-hitting third baseman. They've added who they had the other night?
Naylor, his teammate.
That's right, Josh Naylor. They got bookends at the corners. They have Julio Rodriguez in center. They've got Cal Raleigh behind the plate. They've got Raleigh and Suarez and Naylor and Rodriguez, all guys that can go yard.
And a good pitching staff.
And one of the best pitching staffs with Gilbert and Brian Wu. And I think Bryce Miller's getting set to come back. And I don't know if he'll be healthier enough to pitch well. But the Mariners are building something going for it. There you have it. That's breaking news from Jeff Passan that just came across.
Okay. And Dan, Twitter. You know what key is about that? Mariners have been looking for a bat. They've been looking for like the last 2 years. They've had great pitching. We can't get a bat. Now they make the trade. I know both these guys are free agents, but you get a chance, sort of like what the Giants did when they made some trades. Seattle's going to love these guys. They're going to worship them, and they're going to try to re-sign them for next year.
Well, you remember Suarez was a Mariner.
Originally,
and then he got away. I think he went to Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken. But look, this is a time the Giants should be trying to sell people. I don't know what the numbers are, who they got. We'll find out here shortly what who they're getting as far as what number of prospects. Are they getting the number one prospect for Suarez too? I mean, Suarez was probably the hottest player on the market out there. But what I'm upset about, Los and Lou, is that the Minnesota Twins were able to acquire Mick Abel from the Phillies, one of their top pitching prospects. They were trying to get Andrew Painter, I believe. One team was trying to get Painter, and I can't remember who it was, but the Phillies refused. But the fact that you got Mick Abel for Johan Duran, and Camilo Duvall is younger, and Duran, I've had him in fantasy. He's very erratic, okay? The guy's not he's kind of gives you some Duvall vibes at times with his saves. I mean, he throws nasty 103 or 105, but he's wild at times. He gives up a lot of blown saves. And the Giants, you going to tell me they couldn't go get an arm like a Mick Abel to help this franchise? What are we looking at?
And Dan, the other big thing is you got to remember the best reliever is being suspended without pay for 2 weeks because of gambling. Remember
Class A,
Class A. So now that's
all the way to the end of August.
Yeah,
end of August.
That's why Buster should say, oh, my God, maybe my guys like Rogers, Duvall, Rodriguez, they might have been in the teens as the best relievers. But when you lose your top guy, these guys are now like in the top 5, where instead of you maybe getting a 13th prospect, now you could go for it.
I think Duvall gets traded. I do think Duvall gets traded.
Yeah, I do too. But let me quickly respond to Robert, who a little bit ago said, you're never going to get better. It was about a couple minutes ago. He said, how are you getting better if you sell, or something along that line? So when it comes to trades, we never know how they're going to work out. Does selling improve a team? Yeah, we never know until a year or two later how a trade works out. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And I'm going to give you two examples. The Giants just bought. They bought, or when we say selling or buying, well, they were buying when they got Devers. Are they better now after they got Devers? No. Doesn't mean it's Devers' fault. He's playing hurt, and I think we all think he's going to be a good player here long term. Needs to lose some weight, but yeah, they bought and it didn't work. Now, I mentioned this to Dan when I saw him last week. There was a trade a while back. Boston Red Sox needed a relief pitcher badly, and they traded for Danny Darwin because they were in the hunt for a playoff spot. Danny Darwin, I think he was 33, 34 years old at the time. I think they made the playoffs. They didn't win the World Series. He was gone from the team in a year from two. Do you know who the Red Sox gave up to Houston for Danny Darwin?
Yeah,
guy by the name of
Jeff Bagwell.
Jeff Bagwell. I think that worked out real well, like lopsided. So you have to, and this is what we always talk about. Your scouts and your evaluation of talent has got to be spot on. You have got to identify a guy that may not be a stud right now, but he's going to be a stud in a year or two. Go ahead and take Robbie Ray, who'll be good for another year or two or three.
I don't even know how good Ray might be because
yeah, he's having a career year. Well, he's been a Cy Young Award winner. He's been really good.
Yeah, but he might be peaking. He's starting to tire a little. Move off of the Robbie Ray. By the way, Bill, thank you for the $2. Bingo Lou. He says Giants have no clue what they're doing. I want to get to this thing with the trades, Lou and Los. We were talking about Ray and Duvall. I think Rodriguez's stock is as high as it may ever get. And I'll tell you why. He's an all-star. He's had an incredible year. And the guy's not available to pitch 2 days in a row. We know that. Do other teams know that? He didn't pitch the last couple of games after he gave up the home run. And they asked Melvin, they said, he
didn't pitch this whole series.
He can't pitch. Yeah. He can't pitch. He's not available. Look, the guy throws hard and he's mentally, physically, whatever. I guess it's physical. He's not available. You can't have a closer that's not available to pitch 2 nights in a row. I mean, you're in a great series. You're in a series at the end of September, and you're playing the Dodgers, and you're like tied for them. And
I'll put it this way, guys. Who's untouchable on this team right now? Who is absolutely not touchable?
On the franchise?
Yeah.
I would say nobody, including Bryce Eldridge, if you got an established star for him.
Yep, I agree.
Nobody in this team is untouchable. Zero. I can't think of one guy, maybe one guy I might want to hold on to, unless I got a really top player, is this kid from the Dominican that's only 17 that they say has got comparisons to Lindor, switch hitting guy, because those are the type of guys the Giants never get. And I would love to see what he does. Eldridge, I got some concerns about Eldridge. He's hitting 237 in AAA with a high strikeout rate, like 30%. Okay. I'm sorry. I think he might be great, but if somebody offers me some amazing star player, that's already proven himself and he's not over 30, I'd have to seriously consider it. If he's got 3+ years of control, 4, but it'd have to be a really sweet deal because I think the Giants can build around guys like Eldridge and some of the other younger guys. They all just have to develop and bring these guys together. I'm tired of the way things are running. So nobody's untouchable, Los.
At the end of the day, people can get in here and say that they don't want to sell. that they want to keep buying, and they believe in that philosophy, and they'll turn it around. Yeah, blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, what they've been doing hasn't worked in a long time. So you keep pounding your head against the wall doing the same thing, running it back with the same older veterans, and you keep not making the playoffs, and you keep, as Lou alludes to, failing in the second half to have a winning record. What are we doing, man? Like, don't be stubborn. Just don't be stubborn and keep doing the same damn thing. So if they completely sell off, a lot of us are going to be ecstatic about it. And we're okay if they struggle for a year or two.
Yeah, I'm excited that the Giants did something finally right. And you mentioned at the top of the show, Los, they did something that seems like a really bad thing by losing 6 in a row, but a lot better. I'm happy they lost 6 in a row and didn't go 3-3.
Yep.
Because 3-3 just prolongs the agony. Oh, let's buy. Oh, shoot. We traded away a couple of our better prospects and we missed the playoffs again. Now go sell, please.
Yeah, this is a big Band-Aid on. Don't take it off slowly. Rip that bastard off completely.
Exactly. Rip it off.
Rip it off.
Oh man, yes, please. So this trade today, while you guys carry on, I'm going to see what I can pull up in the trade machine and see if it gives us anything close to how it panned out. I don't even know if what Rodgers, I'm looking for Rodgers' value on here simply because he was a free agent. And
Dan, they just said what the trade was for Seattle and what Arizona's getting.
A couple of pitchers and a first baseman, right?
Yeah, first baseman prospect Tyler Locklear, and they're getting 2 pitching. And this, you got to remember, he's going to be a free agent. So Arizona, I think, made a good move, and they got younger.
All right, let me see if I can pull this up. I'm trying to find.
Dan, didn't you say yesterday on the show that you would trade the whole A's roster for the Giants roster?
Oh, in a heartbeat. Before my heart beated, I would trade the entire roster and I would flip everything we have, and I would then just go out and take the money that I've saved and go out and get free agent pitchers, and I'd have something actually to trade with. I mean, the A's are loaded with young talent.
Man, Lou, do you concur? Trade the whole roster for the A's roster.
I think the whole roster, if you take Severino out,
Severino?
I think I saw Severino.
I'd take him in a deal too. I'd take everybody. Just
he'd pitch well at Oracle.
Yeah, he's pitched good. I think he's going to be traded tonight. But if you take his salary out, I think I saw their whole entire 26-man roster, like $78 million. That's it. Compared to the Giants, that means you could buy 4 stud pitchers. I think it's easier to buy starting pitching than offense that they have, because they're going to have those guys now have probably 5 or 6 guys that are going to be with them that they could sign for the next 5 years. That's how you build an offense. You have the guys that are there, young. When they go to Vegas, and I think it will happen, is you're going to have a good core and guys you can fall in love with. Sort of old school, when you had the guys that went through the system, became rookies, second year, you started wearing their jerseys, you started seeing the difference between a rookie and now a solid ball player. That's what the A's are building. Unfortunately, the Giants, as Dan says, we're getting guys that are 28, 30, 32 that maybe were good 6 years ago, but now they're here. We're sort of doing desperate measures, and I think today with Rodgers, it wasn't a desperate measure. It was a good business move. And that's sort of the difference. And, but yeah, you watch the A's. The A's are exciting the offense. It's the pitching that's the problem.
I think a good part of the chat would not do it. They still believe in the Giants roster.
Too much homerism.
It'd be interesting to do, Dan, since we're numbers and math guys, take the salary of each team and divide it by how many wins they have. See how much the Giants are paying per win versus the A's.
Yeah.
It is startling or the Rays.
Who was the guys in this trade, by the way? It was Drew Gilbert, Butto, and José Butto. Was the other one Blade Tidwell? Was that the guy?
Blade
the
Tidwell,
Giants got?
yeah. Drew Gilbert,
Okay.
Blade Tidwell, and José Butto.
Okay. The Giants cleaned up on this trade, guys. Cleaned up according to the trade machine. The Mets way overpaid. Let me show you this again, because the Mets, the trade machine had these guys rated higher than almost any of the Giants players. Look at Butto, ranked 10.3. Tyler Rogers was a 0.2. Butto is ranked higher than some of the Giants players that we think are pretty good. Tidwell and Gilbert, 8.3. Let me just show you what the Giants rankings are. Anybody, I mean, the Giants got 3 guys over 8.2. I look at the Giants players that are ranked. Hold on, let me go to page 1 here. Sorry. Page 1. Okay. We get to 8. That's Carson Wisenhunt's an 8.8. Casey Schmidt's an 8.5. Walker Martin's an 8.2. Bo Davidson's an 8.2. Dakota Jordan, 8.2. A 10.8 is Ryan Walker. So Butto is the same as Walker, or just a little bit under. So Butto's an established reliever, 4 years in the majors, and you got him for Rogers, who's a free agent,
who could come back. Yeah, good deal.
And George, you might be right. I think the Giants rankings are really low. I don't know. It could be that these guys that are doing the rankings are Dodger fans, or just hate the Giants. I don't know. The Giants values are really, really low, but once we see them, we kind of understand why they're low.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Not only is their roster probably better than the Giants right now, I guarantee you their minor league system has some higher ranked prospects. Their scouts just do a better job, as do the Rays, as do the Orioles. Just about everybody's scouts does better than the Giants. They have missed so much in the last decade. That's why they have one of the poorest farm systems, and that's why they have to trade to get good players.
German Rottweiler says, mark my words, they gave up a lot for Devers. Well, you gave up Tibbs, you gave up Harrison, and you gave up Jordan Hicks, and you gave up the other young kid. I can't remember his last name. Starts with a B, but I don't see it. Cam says, hey, Dan, I would trade Chapman for Ipi Mizuhara. Yeah, the gambling guy. Yeah, that would be good. Maybe we're going to find out that the Giants have been throwing games and they're going to be investigated. And we're going to find out that these guys, who knows? What was that trade? Give me the trade. I'm just going to play with it and see how it came out.
Which one? With Arizona?
Yeah, Arizona and the Mariners.
While you're looking for that, I'm going to make a bold statement. I know we like to make bold statements. Kruk and Kipe are retiring after this year.
That's a nice
they are
one.
probably sick of seeing this crap day after day after day. Heard it here first. Kruk and Kipe retiring after this year.
There we go. That's a bold take. I don't know if they would retire because I don't know if they have anything what they would do. I guess they
maybe
got
only home games.
That's why it's called bold. I know it's a long shot.
Yeah. No,
I know they're giving up good money, but we have a hard time. Well, you two have a hard time covering the show on a daily basis for an hour and a half. They have to actually call a game for 3 hours and watch this stuff. So I don't know.
It's Yeah, it's not easy when you see what this team has become. Guys, 8 out of 9 years for the fifth market team in all of baseball. 8 out of 9 years, they're going to miss the playoffs. And it's not like they're like knocking their door down to make the playoffs. They are.
Remember, it got easier, and we still haven't made it. We haven't made the wild card once. The year we made it in 2021, we won the division.
Who's coming over to the Diamondbacks from the Mariners? Who did they give up?
Is this guy Tyler Locklear, and then Lear. They're also getting 2 prospects, but I'm trying to.
What are the prospects' names?
Yeah, I can't. They're not mentioning. They just say pitching prospects, and then I go on the transactions on ESPN, and they haven't listed the trade yet. Sorry.
Okay, so Tyler Locklear is the only name you got.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
Okay, I thought you said you saw they had 2 other names. Okay.
Yeah, they did, and they said 2 pitchers, but they're not listing the names. I apologize, but here, let me see.
Any relation to Heather?
That's Bob Nightingale. I don't
Yeah,
know.
if that's the case.
Yeah, that'll work.
Bring him on to Arizona. We can use another. Hey, we got a lot down here, but we can use a Heather Locklear down here in Arizona.
Yeah, she's probably about in her late 60s now, but
yeah, she is. She is. My brother knew her. Check this out. My brother was at Cal. She was at UCLA, and they had a connection. The 2 of them. I don't know where it went, but I know there was a connection.
It was Heather Locklear versus Heather Thomas back in the day. Couldn't go wrong either way.
Same thing. Aren't they listening to it?
Interesting. Did he pitch yesterday, Mason Miller? Is he pulled for the game? Is he being dealt? Is that what we're looking at? Senior trying to Mason Miller not pitching for the A's in the 9th. It's 5-3 and the A's are up. It was 6-1. They won yesterday. I don't think he pitched yesterday. Interesting. Do we have a Mason Miller announcement coming soon? Maybe Seattle traded for him so they don't have to face him.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
So here's another trade. Looks like the Dodgers and Rays just made another trade.
Dodgers involved in the trade. Yep.
I know the Rays got more prospects.
Serenelski is headed to the Dodgers with right-handed pitcher Paul Gervase and catcher Ben Rortvedt. The Rays get catcher Hunter. I just lost it. Here it is. Yeah. Get catcher Hunter Ferducio to go along. This is just a minor.
Was it a 3-team trade? All right, sorry.
Oh, this is with the Reds getting Zach Littell, excuse me, former Giant. Zach Littell is going to Cincinnati in that deal. Yeah, I wonder what's going on. I wonder if we're going to hear something on Mason Miller getting dealt.
Got a lot of bullpen guys going.
Yeah, I think that guy from Cleveland going down really bought everybody up because that's what everyone's looking for. You remember last year what San Diego got 2 or 3 relievers all at the trade deadline?
Yeah, they got Tanner Scott and they got I'm trying to remember.
Who do you each have going next, assuming the Giants keep selling? Lou, pick a guy that you think is the next guy to go. Dan, you as well. I'll pick one.
I got Duvall going next. I think it's kind of like when a run on a draft, when you see like a certain position, all of a sudden, tight end went off the board. Tight end number 2 went off. Okay, we better get our tight end now because.
Well, I know the Giants dropped Jelly. He's off the 40-man because they had to do it with the trade. So he's gone. So I'm trying to think. You know, I could actually see being traded, but it'll be a very minor league.
I don't know, Lou, but share with us what you're having. What are you eating? It sounds
peanut M&Ms.
Okay.
I think Luke Hasey might get traded because he's a lefty. He's a lefty.
It's a good one.
I think he might be there. And then, I have a feeling because he's been pitching better. And I know we got him part of a trade. But how about Beck being traded? Won't cost you anything, but he's got a live arm. I'm trying to think because there's so much bullpen need in so many teams. And,
I think the Giants are going to hang on to Beck because they don't have much pitching, that they need somebody to finish the year.
Yeah. Los asked me, and I'm throwing two names out there that aren't.
You like the hat, Daniel? Yeah, it's intentional tonight. It's telling us there's a shift coming.
I'm gonna go Ryan Walker. I think somebody is gonna think that they can get the 2024 version of Walker, and he won't be a closer, but he'll be a back end guy. He's got good stuff. I don't know. He just kind of mentally just messed up early, lost his job, but it won't cost that much. They'll have to give up a lot for Doval, but I think we're all three on the same wavelength. We're thinking it's going to be bullpen probably.
How many years does Doval have left on his contract?
I'd have to look that up. Let me go to.
Or did they only sign him for a year with a player option or something like that? Because again,
he's in the arbitration years.
Okay.
The Cubs have just acquired reliever Andrew Kittredge. It was completed earlier in the day, but will be announced in the morning, I guess. Okay. I thought so. Andrew Kittredge is going to the Cubs from the Orioles. And you want to know about what does Doval have left?
Yeah, how many years? How much does he make?
All right. I think he's in arbitration years. Let me tell you what he makes. Camilo Del Val is Camilo, where are you, Tranquilo? There he is. Okay, he's making $4 million this year, and he was in his first arbitration year. He goes into arbitration year number. No, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm looking at the wrong line here. Camilo. Yeah, this is his first year of arbitration. He's got arbitration year 2 next year, and then arbitration year 3 in 27. Then he becomes a free agent in 28. So he's got 2.5 years. 2 years a contender that wants him for a playoff run could get 3 years of playoff out of Doval. So he's got some value. I would definitely move off of him. The Giants make the same mistake year in and year out by holding on to guys thinking, well, they're really talented. They've got some upside. Well, let's bring them back. Let's hang on to Rodon because we might make the playoffs. And if we do make the playoffs, we might be able to re-sign him, keep him here. Hey, how about Wilmer Flores in 23? He had a great year, 23 homers. Didn't say. How about Blake Snell last year? Hey, if we hang on to Blake, we might be able to make a run, and he might stay here. Nope, you got nothing. So it's time for guys to move. They won't do it. They don't have the courage to do this, but I would try to trade a minimum of 5 guys, and I'm not talking about the burgers either. I get 5 guys to leave at least, but I would try to go closer to 8 to 10. I would make a real house cleaning of nope, I've seen enough.
What the Cubs did a couple years ago.
Yeah, Ramos. I'm okay with Ramos coming back. He's 25. He's making mistakes. He's not a problem as far as a malcontent. He hustles. I'm not on the get rid of Ramos train because he's made mistakes. Look, he's 25. He's one of the most talented hitters the Giants have. Let's keep Ramos. If I got a good offer for Jung-Hoo Lee and I got some real talent, major league talent ready, I'd move him because I don't know if you're going to be able to keep him. To me, Jung-Hoo Lee is a horrible contract because he can opt out after 4 years. That means if he's really good the next year or two, you're not going to have him. He's going to opt out. And if he sucks, you're stuck with him for 2 years after that. It's like,
do you think other teams look at Lee thinking he's a game changer or someone good? Because we think of him like, oh, it's a lousy contract. And a lot of people don't like Lee. But what do the other teams see?
They probably see the same thing. They probably have to see
it's the same thing with Duvall. God, the guy, they all remember how last year was. They know, maybe it's attitude. They saw that fan getting that argument with him. Remember when the fan got asked to leave the game in the ninth inning? The other people know that too.
The Giants
does not have potential. Come on, guys. Stop being. You guys have seen this. You guys are going to start thinking the Giants have a good offense. We don't. Okay.
Look. Let's be real. The Giants see players and their value and their talent that other organizations don't. I'm sorry. The Giants. Jung-Hoo Lee has a whole bunch of fans in the crowd wearing their orange hats, their flaming hats, and before it was panda hats, and before it was giraffe hats. The Giants love players that the fans can attach to and love.
Yeah,
if they're not productive, it doesn't matter because they just put 36,000 people in the seats on a Tuesday against the Pirates. So if they're productive or not productive, as long as the fans love them, the casual fans.
There you go. They're financial
good. And you know how I know? You know how I know there are so many casual fans at that ballpark? They show a lot of camera shots into the crowd. And it was late in the game. The Giants were, again, failing. I saw so many people laughing, smiling, having just a great time. I mean, you're supposed to have a good time at the ballpark. Somebody may have said a joke. I get it. But they're not hardcore fans that would be pissed that the Giants, again, cannot hit in a 9 or 10 inning game. So that tells me all I need to know about the fan base of the Giants right now. 75% casuals. Sorry.
Los, you play fantasy baseball. You and I are in the same league.
Yep.
And fantasy managers across the country, whether it be on Yahoo or ESPN, there's a certain thing called what percentage is a player rostered. Like, let me give you an example. Guys like
for fantasy.
Guys like a Lindor or 99% rostered. No one's 100. Ohtani, 99%. Judge, 99%. A guy like Brent Rooker. Okay, he's not a name across the baseball world that everybody's familiar with, but baseball fans are. He's 98% rostered. People that are playing fantasy, they pick certain guys because they help them win. Corey Seager, 99% rostered. Riley Green, 96% rostered. Fernando Tatis, 99% rostered. Ketel Marte, Freddie Freeman, 99%. Jose Ramirez, you get it. How about a guy like Jordan Westberg? I bet you a lot of guys in our chat don't even know who Jordan Westberg is.
He's killing it right now for the guy right behind me. God,
I have him in one of my leagues. I drafted him. 84% rostered. Jung-Hoo Lee. Okay, guys, how much do you think Jung-Hoo Lee is rostered?
37%.
Less.
Okay, Los wins.
26. Okay.
40%. 60% of the people do not want Jung-Hoo Lee that know baseball. I just mentioned Brent Rooker and Jordan Westberg. Okay, 40%. And 39% of those leagues are right here in the Bay Area. They're all giant homers that pick Jung-Hoo Lee.
Only the Giants fans would have a Jung-Hoo Lee chant going for a 235 hitter. Only the Giants would do that. Not even the A's fans would do that. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
About 18 promotions they give away with him. 18. Yeah. Dan, check the private chat at Arizona. I found out who they got for the trade now.
Okay, there we go. I'm going to put this trade machine. I know Los has to leave here shortly. And Los, whenever you got to head out, let us know. But I'll pull up this trade. I've already got Tyler Locklear. I wonder if that's Heather's son. I don't know. Hunter Cranton and Juan Burgos. So we're looking for Hunter Cranton and Juan Burgos. Okay. Juan
Their
Burgos.
16th and 17th prospect, it says.
Hunter Cranton.
Exactly.
Okay, let's find Hunter. Oh, there he is. Hunter Cranton. Okay. So here's the trade machine, guys. We'll see how this pulls up. If it's wow. Look what the Mariners were able to pull off here, guys. Based on the trade machine value, it is showing that the Diamondbacks got 3 players back that equal 5.5 to Eugenio Suarez 9.3. So it's a pretty close. I mean, that's pretty close. I mean, it's not like 9.3 to 8.9 or 9.2, but it's not out of the realm, is it? I mean,
No, not at all.
Suarez was a free agent and valued at 9.3. Probably would have been a lot lower. You know, he's a free agent, but if his name was Matt Chapman in his walk year, Chapman's probably worth 2.3 just on his production alone. But Suarez has a 9. And so this trade machine is not that far off in some of these trades that's happening. So, Alex, Dan, you said Jung-Hoo Lee will hit 285 for the next year and borderline all-star caliber. You know what? I might be wrong.
Me too.
I might be wrong. And
I was high on him.
Yeah.
Always admit when I'm wrong.
I was looking at his hitting last year when he hit a ball hard down the right field line that just went foul, and then a pitch or two later, he hit a ball down the left field line that was just fair. And I thought, wow, a guy that can hit the ball to one side of the field and then have the bat control to hit it to the other side. I said at that point, Jung-Hoo Lee will win a batting title at some point in his career. Now, I did say some point. I didn't say like next year. It could be 7 years from now when he's 33. He's going to get better, I believe, because why do I think Jung-Hoo Lee will get a little better? Because he has hand-eye coordination. Now, if he could figure out how to actually get his swing changed so he's actually not grounding out to second constantly, but he's actually controlling the bat through the zone where he can say, you know what, I'm going to do a little Tony Gwynn here. I'm just going to poke it over the third baseman's head down the left field line. You know what? Shortstop's playing me up the middle. I'm just going to poke it into the hole at shortstop. He has that kind of hand-eye coordination. Now, can he change his swing to go with that?
Yeah, his hero is Ichiro.
Yeah.
Like, watch Ichiro and his highlights of his career. He hit the ball to all fields. He hit it where it was pitched. And he never swung out of his ass where his helmet fell off. You know, Jung-Hoo Lee has got the potential because of what you said, Dan, hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
Be a 270, 280 hitter. But he's got to be able to go the other way, drop bunts down, and not let the defense know exactly where he's trying to hit the ball. He's trying to pull everything, just like the rest of the lineup.
And Dan, you got to remember, he came from the KBO, which is considered Double-A. So he would be in Triple-A now. Give him a couple years. It's a big difference between KBO pitching and major leagues.
That's a good point. Maybe next year will be his breakout year because he'll officially be in the majors or get a customer.
I'm definitely with Philip on here in trading all of these guys. Ray, Flores, Yaz, Duvall, Bailey, and maybe others. Look, if I'm a GM and I get an incredible offer for a Logan Webb, why wouldn't you take that? I mean, his value is at about his peak. We see. Look, this franchise needs to be remade, guys. It really needs to be remade. I would let me ask you guys a tough question. You just traded for Rafael Devers. Somebody comes up tomorrow and says, we'll give you Stephen Kwan and we'll give you Tanner Bybee, who's coming off of, the IL, and will give you. Let me tell you who they could. Let's see. Let's say the Indians come up with, and I said Indians, guys, not a Freudian slip.
No, that's okay. We like the Indians.
Yeah, it's not a Freudian slip. Okay, so you get Quan, who's ranked 52.4, so you're not going to get, and Tanner Bybee's 49.1. Logan Webb won't even bring you that, okay? That's going to cost you Webb almost and Eldridge to get that. That's how high those guys are ranked. But let me say if the Indians said, we'll give you Quan and Bybee, and they want Devers back, but they don't want Devers' salary burden of 8 years, another $250, and they say, well, how about if we pay half of that salary? Would you take that in a deal, or would you keep Devers?
I'd keep Devers. The only thing I don't like about that trade simulation is that, like, Quan, you said, is a 51, something like that. It's a pretty high number, and it's because of that, because he's a good, not great player, but he's cheap. But at some point, he's going to need to get paid, and then his value. So Quan is not a difference maker. Devers is.
Yeah, I have a lot of people that I hear from that talk about moving off of Devers. I think Devers' issue is this. He got traded in a shocking move that threw him off. It's only been since June, like 15th. Here we are, the end of July. His unsettled. He's in a new city, new league, new ballpark. He's got people ripping him like Big Papi, who he idolized. He's just got so much going. The team's floundering. They don't have anybody behind him. I think Rafi's going to be fine with an off season and a full spring training. Here's the thing that concerns me. The team is floundering. And if you bring the same team back and the same management team, okay, I'm not going to use names here, but if you bring the staff back and you bring Devers back into this dysfunctional situation, aren't you looking at a possible repeat of what's happening now? Wouldn't you want to get some young, did Joey Cora get signed, by the way, with Boston? Or is this his last year under contract?
I don't know. I like him though.
I do. I like Cora.
I think this is his last year, but they're only they're the number 2 wild card right now.
Well, I know, but does Cora want to stay there? That's what I'm getting at, because I've heard he wasn't happy a lot. So I think the Giants need to find a way to go out and get a serious bat that can protect Devers. And I'm talking somebody like a Brent Rooker. I know he's not coming, but give me a guy that the Giants could go find. I mean, you could have had Pete Alonso if you would have paid him in the offseason. You could have had Pete Alonso, right? But I mean, who's out there that would look, like a pretty good pick for the Giants to find? I mean, maybe Eldridge, but I think a lefty, and then with Eldridge probably striking out a lot, he might not be the right guy to back him up. Is there anybody else?
I mean, off the top of my head, I'm just trying to think of right-handed power hitters to take advantage.
Like a Stanton or somebody like that of that magnitude. I
Stanton's
don't know if anyone's.
Right
no, I'm just saying of that magnitude. I don't know if anyone's a free agent next year. I think everyone's under contract for a while.
You could have went out
in the offseason. You can pick up what's the name from Philly. That guy's not coming back.
You could have had in the offseason, but you went and said, well, we're not going to go after Alonso because we've got Flores and Lamont Wade, and you could have had Spencer Torkelson for practically nothing because the Tigers were actually not even going to go with him until their second baseman, Colt Keith, was hurt in the spring training. And so they changed their plans. Colt Keith was going to be the first baseman for the Tigers. They were done on Torkelson. And then I kept, and I wasn't talking about Torkelson just like lately. I was talking about him in all off season. Go get Torkelson. I remember you bringing the name.
Cost you nothing.
You nothing, and the Giants didn't do it. He was a young, power hitting.
We picked up Yaz for $9.8 million. He was our savior.
I'm just thinking down the line here of guys that might be available.
Schwarber's going to be a free agent, but I mean Philly's going to throw the bank at him.
Schwarber,
yeah,
he would fit the ballpark still because it doesn't hold him back. Triples out. The guy's got so much power. I'm trying to think of another right-handed power guy that would be available. Los, you know of anybody?
Man, just lefties are coming to my thoughts right now that are available, and I don't want a lefty power hitter for this ballpark. You know me, I want them to get athletic, speed, contact hitters that can drive the ball in the gaps, not necessarily a lot of power, and surround them and surround the lineup between before and after Devers and Eldridge are two power guys. But if they could get one right-handed power guy in between that would be nice 3, 4, 5. If Eldridge is what we think he could be. But they won't know until they try. So I'd like to see him up. Boys, I got a jet.
Yeah. All right. Los, great seeing you. We're going to get out of here shortly as well. But
great as always.
Thanks.
Where are you flying? To Canton for the Hall of Fame game for Thursday? Hall of Fame football game? Is that why you're on the road?
Me?
Yeah, to go to the big Hall of Fame kickoff classic in Canton, Ohio on Thursday. I don't know. I thought you're being such a big football player, you might be going to Ohio for the Hall of Fame game.
It's on my list, Lou. I've gone to Cooperstown, and I need to get to Canton for sure.
I haven't been to Canton either. I've been to Springfield and I've been to Cooperstown, but not. I used to live 25 minutes from Springfield, Mass. Yeah.
Great.
So
cheers, boys.
All right, Los, have a good one. Take care. All right. Here's a comment by Jill. She says, I know everyone will scream at me, but Cherington signed Rafi as a kid, and he loves the guys he signs. If he doesn't straighten out, Cherry may give San Francisco a huge load of great prospects for him. That is who's. I'm sorry, Cherington. Who is Cherington with Pittsburgh or who's Cherington with? That's not the GM of
I've never heard of that
Boston
name.
Now, is it?
He wouldn't go back.
I don't think he's going back. Hold on here. Let me see. He's general manager of the Pirates, right? Is that who we're talking about? Are we talking about? I think that's who we're talking about. Cherington. Oh, he used to be with the Red Sox. That's right. Okay. So that would be kind of crazy because the Pirates don't spend any money. That would be something. Pirates have, how about Paul Skeens?
Straight up. Hey, Dan, the one thing about Pittsburgh, too, is, we all criticize the Giants' offense. Are you aware that Pittsburgh Pirates, coming to this game, had scored the least runs in the majors? The least runs. And they come here and they sweep us. That's when you know things are bad.
Well, this is.
We said it was going to be tough, Dan. You said they had to go 7-3.
They went 2-8.
2-8.
They went 2-8. Guys, we haven't had any more. Well, you know what? Let me go get something to plug my phone in because
no
I may be missing some trades. My phone battery just went kaputs on me. So carry on, Lou. The
No problem. No
conversation
problem.
while I'll be right back.
Guys, who in the chat do you guys want to see the Giants sell? I mean, is there anyone you guys? I mean, Lowe's bought up a couple guys who you see. I personally think 2 guys will be gone 100% because they're going to be free agents. And that's one of the reasons why Rodgers left. I personally think Wilmer's going to be gone because he's not going to be back next year. And I think Yaz is going to be gone. Yeah, Flores and Yaz. They're free agents. So the Giants might as well get something for them. The season's a wash. And next year, they're not going to be with us. So, and they save money. Who else? Robbie Ray, Yaz, and Duvall. Dan, wait a minute. Hey, Dan, what I said is, Los asked me who I think the Giants should trade. I said, personally, 2 guys I think are going to be gone because of free agents, Flores and Yaz. And now everybody in the chat are throwing who they think the Giants should trade. Yaz can go.
Right.
So there are a couple. If you see names, that's why.
Okay, we got Flores, Yaz, Marcus Tanner, I hope. Christopher Byers, Yaz can go. Robbie Ray, Yaz, Duvall, Flores, Yaz, Duvall, Ray, Melvin, Williams, and the Ball Boys. The Ball Boys.
Yeah, the Ball dude.
Rosie, Duvall, Alex Faulkner, Duvall, Ben Bamboo, Bailey, TG, Flores, Yaz, Alex.
You know where I could see Flores going?
Duvall.
Like a hitter's park, like a Philly. I'm trying to think if they need right-hand bats. Someone
How
like
about
the
Cincinnati?
Reds.
How about
Cincinnati. And by the way, if you notice right now, by Friday night, if the Giants lose in New York, Miami Marlins will be ahead of the Giants. I mean,
Wow.
could you have thought that was going to
happen?
How
about Dallas says Yaz needs to go play Matos for 50 games. He's out of options. So they lose him if they can't figure out if he's a major leaguer. Been saying that a long time. I think that's a good point. In fact, that's such a good point, Dallas, that we'll invite you in if you want to come on into the show. I don't know how much longer we can go, but
with that great voice of his, we'll go as long as it takes.
Yeah, we can. Why can't I get my? Hold on here. I got things a mess here. StreamYard.
So I'm not seeing any other trades in the last 15 minutes.
My phone is. Oh, it's back on. Okay. Whew. All right. I'm going to give the link here, and this is for Dallas.
Boy, the Yankees. So, the Yankees wanted Suarez. And then when he got hit by the pitch, they sort of took a step back. So they're looking for a third baseman.
They already got McMahon.
Yeah, but Colorado. Yeah, good point. Sorry. I was thinking outside the box.
All right. Dallas, if you want to join us, there's the link in the chat. Come on in. We'll wrap this up within the next 20 minutes or so. Trying to figure out. I'm kind of delaying here to see if we get any more trades tonight. Why are the Giants not being active? Why are we only traded Tyler Rodgers? I mean, this is something that the Giants should be trading everyone.
Chardall has a no trade contract, so we can't trade him. Sorry, guys.
Aaron, we missed this one. Aaron said, breaking, Yaz traded for a couple dozen cookies and
player to be named
later. Landing in Vegas in about 20 minutes to put my mortgage on the Giants under on runs this weekend. They're going to the to New York. Hey, here's an interesting thought. What do you think, Tyler Rodgers? The Giants are going to New York tomorrow. Does he go on? Does he go on the flight to the Giants?
So they talked about that today, and they said the Mets had the trade almost done yesterday, but they waited until midway of the game, so this way he'll fly with the team and then play against them, which is instead of having to get a private flight for him. He's just going to fly back to New York because the Giants were going to fly out tonight. That's why the trade came out at that time. Didn't happen before the game. It happened midway. And then did you see, I didn't see it because I actually have a job and I work during the day, but I guess Buster went and nobody saw him until he went to the bullpen and told him he'd been traded, gave him a hug, and then everybody found out that way. Yeah, I didn't see it. It was on KMBR today. Buster himself.
Okay.
So he went, I don't know how it works, through there, but he basically went in, told him, hey, can I talk to you? Gave him a hug, said, hey, thanks for everything you've been traded.
That's awesome. And here we welcome in the voice.
The voice.
There he is.
There he is. Dallas.
Pavlovich says that they were hoping that Rogers would go on the flight with them, but he's got to pack some stuff up. And,
okay.
So he'll probably go on his own, but could be.
Interesting.
Where's that offense you keep talking about, Dallas? Come on. Hey, at least you thought what you said would happen. As Dan said, hey, we need to go 7-3 instead we went 2-8, and not surprising. It's just one of those things. This team.
Well, they did something, Lou, that we all wanted to go 8-2, right? 7-3. Yep. We would have been thrilled. We would have been even thrilled with 6-4. We would have been like, okay with 5-5. We would have been a little disappointed with 4-6. 3-7. We're kind of like, dang, this is deflating. And 2-8 though is like downright just catastrophe. But if you had me pick, would I rather have them go 4-6 and the Giants start trying to?
No, you even said this. I'd rather they lose them all and we start
fine tune this thing and thread the needle and see if we can do this. You know what? This should wake the team up to several factors. One, you don't have the horses to compete for 162. You have the horses to compete for 80 games.
Of the season. Yeah.
Yeah. You have the horses to compete for 80 because, we see this all the time. Guys fall apart all the time in baseball. This is not just a San Francisco Giants thing. This is happening throughout baseball. Guys that have really good first halves, they falter in the second half. They get tired. They're not used to going 162. And then you not only have that to look at, but you have to look at this coaching staff and say, what does this mean going into 26? I would think this team has to finish strong. When I mean strong, they have to play good baseball. They don't necessarily have to win 86 games, but they have to play 500. They have to play good baseball and look like they haven't, they're all ready to go to Cancun next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they need to play above 500 the rest of the way. Otherwise, you got to make a change. Yeah. You can't start out hot and then just flounder the rest of the way and expect to keep your job, because Posey's done his part. He's added to this team. He's, seen what their weaknesses are. He's addressed them. He's put some good players on the field. Now they haven't played up to their potential, but this team has some players, and obviously none of them have played up to their potential this year. If you asked any single one of those players, are they satisfied with the season they've had? To a man, they will say, no, I underachieved.
Well, maybe they're not as good as we make them out to be. When you look at the back of the baseball card, a lot of these guys are sort of doing what they're on the back of their baseball card. Them being Giants, let me ask you this. Here's a better way to do it. If our team wasn't called the San Francisco Giants and they were called the A's, same guys, same positions, how would you feel about them? Just because they're under the San Francisco Giants, you would say, yeah, you got what you sort of got, what you sort of expected. We've always said Chapman's a 240 hitter. He's not going to give you a lot of RBIs. He's really well known, and that's sort of what he's doing. Adames, if you take that away last year, the year before, he batted, 206? And he's not having a great year. He's sort of doing that. Lee, we don't really know because it was KB, KBO. I'm just saying, sometimes being Giants fans, we sort of give our guys, instead of on a scale 1 to 10 where they should be a 5, they're like a 7, 7.5, because we want them to succeed so much.
Yeah, but Chapman, he had a worse year than last year. Adames had a worse year than last year. Ramos had a worse year than last year.
They're all
We don't know. You're right. I mean,
and by the way, I'm sorry. San Diego did not trade Cease. I'm reading right now that Houston
I got it right here,
potential
Lou.
trade with Cease. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I was waiting to finish here. I didn't want to pop into you guys.
Sorry,
but, Cease has not been traded. Here's the news, the latest from Bob Nightingale. The Houston Astros are now engaged in trade discussions with Marlins for ace Sandy Alcantara after talks with San Diego Padres for starter Dylan Cease have cooled. Okay, so also the Padres are working on a possible trade for Mason Miller. A's manager Mark Kotze told reporters that Miller was unavailable to pitch tonight. He didn't explain why, but said it wasn't injury related. So you have two possible deals going down here, with the Astros maybe getting Sandy Alcantara. The Padres are looking at Mason Miller. I've also heard a rumor.
Don't be the Padres. Come on. There's got to be other teams that.
I told you, Tatis told the GM, go for it. We've won 6 in a row.
The Red Sox are in advanced talks to acquire Mason Miller per source, according to Daniel Judgeport, whoever that is. Daniel Judgeport, don't know him, but he's on Twitter and getting reports. Thank you to our good friend of the show, Robert, not Robert Rothberg, but you're a friend of the show, Robert, but not, what I meant is not you that reported it, but Robert Boyd is giving me some updates. So thank you to Robert. All eyes and ears are out there.
Can you see if two teams are going after Miller? Once Miller goes, then Duvall could be next.
I would think a team like
if you miss out on one, hey, we don't need to give up 3 guys. Hey, for Duvall, we can maybe give up 2.
Yeah.
Because Miller's got, I think,
I'm trying to think of teams that might
this year
look for a Duvall. We know the Phillies and Mets are no longer in the market. The Dodgers don't have a closer. Would the Giants consider making a trade with the Dodgers? I doubt it.
So.
Other possibilities.
Yankees. We told you they already talked about one of our guys. Maybe they didn't think Duvall was on the. They didn't think Duvall was
a possibility there with. I would think the Yankees, the Blue Jays have Hoffman as their closer. Red Sox, Giants made a deal already. Red Sox don't have a closer. They've been using Jordan Hicks at times, and he's not done well. The Tigers, they have Will Vest, not ideal. You've got the Brewers, they have McGill.
They're fine. How
Padres
about the Cubs?
Are doing well. I'm surprised the Padres, they really would be going for it because they've got Robert Suarez as their closer. He's one of the best in the game. You go in and put Mason Miller, you're looking to snuff teams out.
Because Miller's got either 3 or 4 more years after this.
George Curry says if they get Miller, they will trade Suarez to someone. That would be interesting. Yeah, maybe they recoup. I've never been against having 2 back into the bullpen guys. Shut the thing down, man. Why do you want to rely on one guy when you can have 2 guys? You shorten the game. I would not trade Suarez if I got Miller. I would be like, I got Adam and I got Moron, or however you pronounce his name, Morojon or something. and you got another guy in there. You've got another not Suarez, but Estrada, Jeremiah Estrada. Maybe he gets dealt if you get Miller. Senior says, man, the Giants could be in on all this, but they're afraid to sell their top assets. Webb, Ray, Devers. I know Senior has been not too high on the Devers situation, and I get it. Devers, guys, is it possible that he's not a right fit for this ballpark the way or is it just going to just take him time to get his head on?
Possible that a month is not long enough to know that, and he was injured for half of it. I mean, they've been waiting a long time to get a power bat here. They can't sign a free agent to come here. So they finally are able, after 18 years since Bonds left, now they have a power bat, and they want to get rid of him because he had a bad month. I mean, it would never happen anyway. Posey would look like the biggest idiot in the world if he went and traded him now.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's here for at least 3 to 5 years, and if not the entire 8 years of the contract. Devers can hit. He just needs to get an off season where, he knows what's going on. I mean, you think about Devers in the beginning of the year, it's just the Red Sox mishandled everything with him. And then that didn't go well. And all of a sudden, I mean, think about your own life, guys. Think about your own life. You go through some crazy thing. Everything's great in your life. And you go into a season and you're expecting, like, okay, I got a good job.
The year before, you signed the biggest contract in Red Sox.
I got this great job. I signed with this company, and then all of a sudden you find out some guy, the company is hiring somebody that's going to take the position that you grew up playing, but they're not going to really talk to you about it. They're just going to keep you quiet. But think about this. Think of it in terms of more of a personal situation. Your employer rocks you. Let's say it's not your job, but it's your spouse surprises you, and all of a sudden your spouse is like changes and just says, don't want you anymore. And now your life's thrown up on upside down, and you not only are not in your own home area, you've been shipped off to an area and you're trying to find your life again, and it's rough. And then you're not, like Alice said, you're not 100%, and you're trying to learn a whole new area, new friends, and everything's, and you're expected to, everybody expects you to do great. I think the Devers thing will be fine. I think he's proven hitter. I think the Giants need to focus on the biggest thing they need to focus on, in my opinion, well, there's a lot they need to get, but number one is get protection behind Devers. I said in the whatever inning it was late in the game, he came up. I can't remember if it was the 9th inning. Maybe it was the 9th. I go, they're going to pitch around him. And then it was a 3-1 count. They got him to 3-2, and then he flied out to left field. They actually threw it a little bit on the outside corner. He went to left field with it, but it looked like they were just going to walk him because you had a right-hander on the mound for Pittsburgh. And then the Giants have Adames, who's been doing better, but Adames has a lot of holes. If you pitch him right, he's not going to beat you unless he hits a mistake and punches it into right field. If you stay away from Adames with breaking stuff away, he might make contact, but it'll be soft contact.
Yeah.
But if you come up around the letters, he might knock it out of the park.
Yeah. I think Devers will come back a lot better next year. I think he was a little put off by the fact that they are saying you're the DH now, right? So he's like, all right, fine, I'll just hit. I can hit. He probably let himself go a little bit, put on some weight, wasn't worried about playing the field. And I think that kind of bit him, because then they're like, okay, now you need to go play first base. And he's like, well, I'm not playing first base. And then, so I think if he's serious about this job, which he should be, it's his whole life, then he'll work hard this offseason, get himself back in shape, and come into camp next year looking a lot better. And I think we'll see a different Devers next season. So I'm not too worried about him. They've got him locked up for a long time. If it turns out he's not working out for whatever reason, they could move him pretty easily, because the value that he'd be worth a lot more on the open market. So
Right. Yeah, exactly. You can get something
at least got a couple years to see what he's got.
Yeah. And the one thing the Giants have is money. If they were able to trade him as a potential third baseman, first baseman, DH to a team, and you said you owe like $27 million a year, roughly $250 million, but let's say the Giants took $75 million of that contract, and a team after a year, instead of 220, only owes him, 150 for 7 years. Giants could get a haul for him. I mean,
Absolutely.
more than they gave up.
Oh, for sure.
Because there would still be like 7 years left. 150. You talk about 150 divided by 7 years, and you're talking only $21 million a year. I mean, there's a lot of teams that would love to have a Rafi Devers for $21 million a year.
Sure. They could move him right now and get more than they traded for him. They could do it.
Probably could, especially if they took part of the contract on and just say, hey, you know what? It's cost a bit doing business. They could, they could get.
They wouldn't do that because they traded it for a bat, and they need a bat desperately,
right?
And they got it. So he hasn't hit yet, but give it time.
Yeah, they definitely need a right-handed. Really, I'm not talking like an Elliot Ramos, a guy that can hit you 20 to 25 homers. They need a right-handed bat that seriously could put up, 35 homers at Oracle, even from the right side. Guys like an Alonso, a guy like that you're like, oh man, if I put Devers on base, Alonso could hit a 2-run homer or a 3-run homer. And maybe they could go after. Well, the problem is they can't go after Alonso now because they got too many first basemen. So
they have to hope that Eldridge is Alonso.
Yeah, they have to hope that. And if Devers wants to play first base, you're going to have to figure out a way to maybe make Devers a corner outfielder and not just a DH at 21 years old. I don't know.
You mean Eldridge?
Yeah, Eldridge being a corner outfielder.
You said put Devers in the outfield.
Oh, did I say scary. Devers? I didn't mean I Freudian slip. I did not mean Devers in the outfield. I would, you might be able to figure out a way. Bryce Eldridge play left field and move Ramos to right. I don't think Ramos would be as bad in right as he is in left. That leaves you with Jung-Hoo Lee. Almost you have to keep him because you need somebody that can cover both sides of the field.
Yeah, and then just tell him it's always your ball, Jung-Hoo. Always your ball. You get it.
You could do that. Alonso expected to opt out after the season. Put Eldridge in the outfield. Devers. It's going to be interesting to see what the Giants do. My concern, guys, is that the Giants don't put a lot of money into the team going forward because this is the second year that ownership has kind of bitten off some money. I mean, last year, remember, it was the Soler and Snell, and then you had the Chapman and they spent all this money and they went right up to the luxury tax. I think they might have even gone over a little. And then they just, 500 team. And then here they are this year, they're under, but they've committed to Devers. And are they going to say, all right, we're going to throw more money at this and still come back with no results? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
How much
I got
can
a
the
question
fan
for
base
you.
take?
You can't buy chemistry. That's what it is.
Would it be
Good
crazy
point.
to now they already have Devers playing first base? Would it be crazy to think that he could play second base?
Yes.
He could play third base.
No, he cannot play second base with that body.
You know, I mean,
No,
yeah,
no
okay,
chance.
yeah.
No chance.
Do you guys think maybe, I'm not going to say egos, but maybe Melvin's the real problem? You know, you watch these press conferences. You know, one of the things me and Dan spotted the other night in Dallas, I don't know if you saw it, he blamed Schmidt for the play the other night.
The throw
he
that
threw to
hit
Rogers.
that Rogers was looking at.
Never said
base.
anything was wrong with anybody else. He basically, now we don't really have veterans on our team because a lot of these guys, you know, are sort of the middle prime, but he manages like 2014. After every press conference, he sits there. No, we're just not playing good. He doesn't say anything. He's very monotone. It's like, dude, do you even watch the games? You know, he shows no emotion. It's almost like, hey, he's almost there. And I know this is bad to say, just for the paycheck. You know, he doesn't, you know, he had a couple chances with Ramos to actually take him out of the game. He should have made a point. Didn't. Says he had to play Ramos because we have nobody else. You know, are you telling me Ramos is that important with guys making triple the money that he's the most important? You know, it's just, there's something definitely wrong there. And there's a bad taste. Now, Devers coming in, you know, people say, oh God, you know, it's Devers, we've had the worst, but it's also the exact same time that they signed Melvin for the extra year. No one's talking about that. You know, they were both pretty close, you know, so they don't have a winning record since they gave Melvin. And Dan brought up a good point that Buster says, hey, let's give Melvin another year, see how he manages without the pressure. Well, we're seeing how he's managing without
There's
the
no
pressure.
urgency. There doesn't seem to be any urgency. You brought it up, Lou, about Ramos. I listened to the clubhouse interview last night. They said, well, what are you going to do? You know, John Shea asked him, do you think he needs to sit down? You gave Willie Adames a day off earlier in the year.
I thought it was a pretty good comment.
And then he got kind of going.
Yeah, good, yeah.
And Melvin was like, well, he's one of our best hitters and he'll be in the lineup tomorrow. And it was like no hesitation. And then when Shea asked that question, he kind of went like, almost like, well, maybe I won't put him in the lineup, but he never said that. But he thought like, gee, I did give Adames a day off. It was a rest day, a mental day. And Elliott's been struggling mentally. I mean, are you saying that Ramos is that valuable that you can't just give him a day off in a
I don't think that's even true. Like, if he thought he needed a rest day, what got me is that he asked him, he's like, hey, do you want to take a day off tomorrow? You know, clear your head. And Ramos said, no, I want to be in there. That's like, you know, asking my 12-year-old son if he wants to be grounded, you know?
Yeah, but that's not what happened last night, because he said it would be good if you give him a day off tomorrow because you're also getting Thursday off. It wasn't like they were both in the same one. There were two different interviews. That's all I'm saying. So it was just one of those questions, but he almost thought like, I gave Adames a couple of days off. Like he didn't even remember that he did that. That's why I'm thinking sometimes, you know, he's just not there. And again, you know, he's been managing a long time. I'm not saying this job is easy with this team because how many times are you going to answer the same questions? But there's definitely something there. And, you know, you see it where, you know, they said the other day that they had 4 closed door meetings, right? One with all the coaches and the players, the other 3 with all the team, right? No coaches, no nothing, just team. And it's still not working. So when you try to do this, there's something wrong. Either there's something really rotten in there, and I don't think it's Devers. I think he's just the latest excuse since he's the new guy and they're not doing it. But I think there's definitely a problem. And, you know, it's almost like, hey, a lot of these guys don't, you know, I don't mean to say anything, but maybe they just don't respect Melvin. You know, he's sort of old school. These guys, if you ever notice around there, maybe they don't understand English that well, where, these guys are probably talking in Spanish. You know what I mean? You can just see it where this is not the same team the first 50 or 40 games where they were having fun. They're not even having fun. It's almost like they don't even want to be out there.
Oh, did you see the dugout today, guys? When they were showing the shots of the dugout, there were just a bunch of like peanuts on the floor, and there was nobody around. They looked like they were just nobody was talking to each other.
That's what I saw. It's bad.
Like a complete dead dugout. I think this team is lifeless. It feels like it's on life support. I don't think Melvin has any answers. You look at him, they asked the question, they said, first question of the day is like, this is the first time you're under 500 all season long. What does that mean? He says, well, we're a game under 500. Like,
no emotion, no nothing.
Yeah. I wonder if Melvin is at the point where he's so frustrated that he really honestly doesn't know what to do. And it's showing because this team doesn't know what to get behind. There just feels like, and it's almost kind of similar to what happened in San Diego a couple years ago. They were, all of a sudden the team just fell apart and everybody was like, the players were all upset.
Everyone was blaming everybody else. Yeah.
There's nobody. And it's almost like when you're not take the bull by the horns type of guy, or if you're just kind of let things go and you try to think things will just kind of work themselves out, that it gets worse. It gets worse because there's nobody, if you got a family situation and the dad is just letting the kids kind of just do what they want and things are running loose and the house is going nuts. The wife's upset because she can't get control of the kids. And the husband's just kind of like, they're teenagers. They'll work it out. They'll come around. And you just watch the whole family crumble. Right.
Right. I mean, there's something to be said about, a low resting heart rate and not overreacting and not, but when it gets to this point where they're in a free fall, they're in a terrible slide, then it starts to sound like tone deaf when he just says, yep, well, we're under 500, we didn't hit, what can you do? That, it's a bad look. And I don't think it's inspiring for the team. I don't know if he just expects them to pull out of this tailspin on their own. Or if he's just like phoned it in now. I'm not sure what's happening. It's a weird scene for a team. Through much of the year, they had a spark. They had a fire in them. They were winning these close games. They were walking off all the time. They were exceeding everyone's expectations. No one expected them to be, where they were for most of this season. And then now they've hit this patch where the hitting never really worked. It worked.
They're in quicksand
in spots, but then now the pitching's faltering too, and they're just in a landslide. So it's been really tough to watch.
Let's think about this, guys.
Yeah, I said this.
This team won a lot of games with a lot of Houdini.
Yeah,
I mean,
skills.
You were watching the way they were winning games. They were winning a lot of one-run games, very tight games, okay? Late in the games, they would pull through. And that stuff can't continue. It's just law of average is going to catch you. But they just won. I mean, look how they won the last crazy game that was wild.
Inside
was the
the
Patrick
park.
Bailey inside
Bailey
the park. You had the Elliot Ramos Little League home run earlier in the year. You had a lot of one-run games that just the Giants would walk them off. They 9 of their wins were at home walk-offs earlier.
Right. But do you think that led to the decision today where he didn't pinch hit for Bailey because he's thinking that lightning is going to strike twice?
I think he looks at Bailey and says, we needed a fly ball to tie it up, and Bailey can shorten his stroke when he's just trying to get a fly ball, and he's kind of that type of hitter where he's just going to loft something when he's trying to just do that. But when Bailey's trying to swing for a hit, he strikes out the majority of the time, it seems like.
But you have Flores on the bench who's perfect for this.
Yeah.
When were you waiting for Flores? Let me ask you that. You don't use him there. When were you waiting for him? If it goes,
yeah,
to
you're going to the
14th,
top of the order next. You're going right to the top of the order. You're not going to pinch hit for Ramos. You're not going to pinch hit for Devers. You're not going to pitch hit. Who was third today? Was it Adames and then Chapman? I think.
I don't know.
I can't remember the
unless maybe he was going to be traded. But you have a guy there that's perfect, who at least makes contact.
And yeah, that's kind of Flores' deal. He's kind of that perfect type of clutch hitter. And you did have it second and third set up, so you didn't have to worry about the double play.
If he gets traded, I'll let it go. Because if he came up and won the game, then it's going to be tough. It's a bad look to trade him.
So I'm not too sure where this thing goes, but the Giants won. My point is the Giants won a lot of games that way, and they're just really not that great of a team. What is their current? Oh, they're plus 5 now. Run differential. They're down to 5. They're 54-55. They are 9 games back. Forget the division. We knew that anyway, but
90 wins.
You've been lucky if they get 80 now, the way this team's playing.
And they got a tough road trip.
They're 6 games behind San Diego. They're only a half game behind St. Louis. They can get past St. Louis, but they're 3 behind the Reds. They're only 1 ahead of Miami. Miami seems to be surging with their young players. This is something we've seen quite a bit of. I think the Giants got off to a really good start because the vibe was great in spring training. They came out of the gates hot, 8-1, then 12-4. A lot of people were feeling like, hey, really, really good. They carried it through. They were 41-29. They were tied for first place on whatever date that was, like June 13th. Was it Friday? Something like that. Whatever the date was, Schmidt hit the grand slam against Yamamoto.
Yeah.
That tied. And you remember that was coming off of a very tough loss to Colorado where they
blew it in the ninth or the
didn't
eighth.
Didn't they blow the game on Thursday or something like that?
Yeah,
it was
like in the ninth inning, they gave it 3 runs or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they bounced back. And then 2 days later, we get the Rafi Devers trade. And, you're actually thinking, dang, their playoff odds were like 80% at the time. Mm-hmm. We're like, dang, this is a playoff team. They just got Devers, and they're probably not done. They're going to do some other things. And it just, for whatever reason, you probably had to make changes. I don't know, and I'm not at all suggesting that Rafi Devers is the issue. Not at all. I'm just saying with change, did the vibe of the clubhouse get changed where guys' positions got demoted? I don't know. I would think that the guys were excited because they saw that, hey, we've just got one of maybe the top 10, 15 hitters in the game. And I think everybody was excited.
No one really got demoted. It's just Wilmer had to play first base, more often.
Yeah.
Nothing changed. I mean, eventually Devers has played 3 or 4 games at first.
Yeah, nothing really changed. But
they feel like they don't have, like they were having to scrap for all these wins. And then maybe they're like, okay, now we got this guy. It's going to be easier now. And that changes their mindset.
Maybe they didn't. Yeah. I think when it comes down to, guys, when you really look at the situation, they just don't have the talent that a lot of other teams have. I mean, you could say,
look who carried him in the first 50 games. It was Flores, you remember?
Yeah. Not
And you
the
can't
first
expect him
50.
to do
I
that
think
all year.
Flores carried him for maybe the first 30. That was about it. But I think you look at this game or the situation, you go, okay, very solid on the left side of the infield. Chapman, Adames, solid defensively, major league players. But then, you look at the outfield and you thought, well, right field, major hole, center field, it's adequate. Left field, you thought, okay, it looks good on paper, but then you start seeing all the mistakes. And then you look at first base and you go, okay, we had a problem there all year. Devers is going to be there eventually, but we still have a problem at first base. You look at second base and you go, okay, second base seems to be somewhat of a problem in that we don't have any consistency happening there. And then, just a lot of ups and downs there. Schmidt looked to me like he could play second base. And I still think going into a full season, if he knew that was his job, I think Schmidt can hit 250, close to 20 homers, give you 75, 80 RBIs, and give you really solid defense. But I don't know. Is Melvin jerking him around now? He played wisely 2 games in a row. What's going on? Are we going to go to this? We got to play wisely more.
If he was banged up, Schmidt was banged up.
Is that what it was? Schmidt was banged up?
But Alex makes a good point about the lineup. That during the start of the season, they played the same lineup every day.
Yes,
they
did.
At the very beginning of the evening. And then I don't know if we've seen the same lineup since. It changes every single day.
Every day.
They're moving things around. Let's try this. Let's try this. And it ends up, it's like at a certain point, you just see a guy throwing darts, and like trying to get lucky or something. And there's not really a plan. It's just like, just keep shuffling until we hit it, and it's like,
and it's amazing when Lee leads off, right? He's fine. But then when he's batting 6, it always means like every time there's a huge situation and he's not leading off, he's batting 6. He's the guy that's got to get the hit. It never really worked out. It's amazing.
When he's in the middle of the order, he's a huge hole in the middle of the order.
Yeah.
It's like every single time, it's like, okay, count it out right there.
Yeah. You look at George Curry's comment, makes sense. Giants started well because they were playing fundamental baseball, right? They were stealing bases, pitching was deeper. Wilmer got cold, Yaz and Jung-Hoo Lee got cold. And
plus Chapman was cold most of the year. Adames was cold most of the year. Everyone was cold. There was very few times when 2 guys were hot at the same time, and never 3 guys. So for
hey Dallas, I got a question. Do you think maybe when 2021 everyone sort of had the career years, could this be just the complete opposite, where everyone had their worst years?
It could be. I think that baseball is a game like that. People have good years and bad years, and sometimes they coincide in the same year.
Yeah. Problem is on this team, you don't have a leadoff hitter that they've stuck with. At this point, I wouldn't even be experimenting with different guys. I would just put Jung-Hoo Lee at the leadoff position for the rest of the season. You got 53 games left. See what he can do.
Yes.
Let's see what Matos can do in right field.
Absolutely.
This is
where we're in a pretty good situation with Posey. He's not worried about losing his job. He's not having to go for it right now because he's going to get fired at the end of the year. Right. So he is in a position where he can sell. And hopefully we see that in the next 24 hours. He moves some guys.
I think you got to move off of Yaz just to get –
and Flores. They're not going to be here next year.
Well, yeah. And just to let these other guys have a spot, and if Luciano is not in a deal, he's in the same situation with options that Matos is going to be in.
Yeah.
Why don't you, if you don't trade Luciano,
play him.
Play him
or play him.
Trade him or play him, exactly. Is he a left fielder? I don't know what you do with Ramos at that point. Maybe if you get off of Flores. Did I say Flores? Put Ramos at DH and put Luciano and see if he can do something in left field. And
Yep.
you go with an outfield of Luciano, Lee, and Matos, an infield of Devers, Schmidt, Adames, Chapman, and your DH is Elliot Ramos. Maybe you can go on a run. Maybe
Simmer down
Matos,
now.
maybe Matos and Luciano give you a spark because they're excited that they're playing every day. And all of a sudden balls start finding
Yeah. They
grass.
can start scoring 6, 7, 8 runs a game, and then the bullpen can blow it because they traded them all. And
but I'm just saying, what happens if these guys start showing a spark? Luciano, Matos, Ramos is like, okay, I'm just going to be a DH. I don't have to worry the rest of the season about screwing up in left field. And if I get on base, I'm just going to put the dog shock collar on, and I'm just going to run when they get shocked. I don't know, guys.
You bring a good point. Play the young because you can always trade him in the off season. You know,
you got to find out what they got.
Yeah, it's
You
not
gotta
like
find
right
out.
now.
Talk to Ramos and say, hey, you haven't lost your job. We just want to play these other guys, see what we got here. You take a mental break from left field, just concentrate on your hitting, for a third of the season. And, next year you'll be out there again.
Yeah. And start him in left field at least day one so they break that streak, and then move him to right if you're going to play him in right. But
we have to break that streak.
You got to break that streak. Yeah, you got to break certain curses that are on this franchise right now. And left field and 30 home runs are two of them. So let's see what happens. I'm kind of expecting Luciano. I wouldn't be surprised if Matos goes. This kid they traded for today, the left fielder, or not the left fielder, the outfielder. What was his name again? I'm all of a sudden I'm forgetting his name. Gilbert, Drew Gilbert strikes out. He's only 16% of the time. Maybe Buster and Zach Menason are saying, okay, we're targeting guys that make contact. And we're going to play, Matos makes contact. Gilbert supposedly makes contact in AAA. That doesn't always translate, though, to the majors. We see guys that strike out 15, 16%. They come up to the big leagues and they're striking out 30%. So,
Gilbert has been on fire recently. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just bring him up and put him in right field.
It's very possible. He's a right-handed hitter. They're looking for that, which means if you're going to do that, does Matos get traded? Or
Jazz?
A combination of Matos and Luciano. One of those guys, I believe, is getting traded.
Hey, Dan, did you see somebody in the comments said because of Panda leaving the Giants to sign Boston, Boston's always had our number, and they're so glad they got it back with Devers. I saw it in someone's comment because, Panda, when he signed the free agency and he went to Boston, was useless. So they've been trying to get back at the Giants for that.
Oh,
yeah, but the Giants got over on them. I mean,
I know.
1 month in, they may think that they've won that deal, but
yeah, no, I mean, it's
we're a long way from seeing that through.
Yeah. I just think, the Giants, they're not going anywhere. They're not going to the playoffs. You have no excuse not to play the young guys. You've been talking about it for 4 years. Step up, do it, and you got to see what you have. Because if you don't do it, then you're in the same situation you were this past April. You have the same team. You have young guys you're not sure of. That's the only way to improve. You got to know if you have the young, because you know what? If they do play and say Matos doesn't do anything, Luciano, he only is a AAA, a 4A guy, then in the offseason what you need to do. Because right now, as Dan always says, pick the lane. You got to play him so you say, okay, guys, we need a leadoff hitter. We need a second baseman. We have guys that can be bench players, but, we need that. We need another starter. You got to know this because you got to start thinking about next year now. Because if you don't, we're going to be in the same situation we've been in the last 5 years. Being Giant fans, we hope we're going to the playoffs. But really, when you look at the surface, we're not.
So you're saying this losing streak is a blessing in disguise?
I think it is. In general, it gives the Giants a chance to pick a lane more. My biggest concern with this team, and I said this many times, and we got to get out of here. We've been going almost 2 hours, 20 minutes here. I'm concerned, guys, the makeup of this team, that Chapman, Adames, Ramos, forget Yaz, he's gone. So I'm talking about next year. Chapman, Adames, Ramos, that's 3 guys. Bailey, 4, Devers, 5, that strike out a lot. Okay, 25%. Eldridge, if 6. He comes up, that's 6. When are we going to find players that complement? They drafted this Killeen kid at the first pick of the draft because he makes contact. They traded away for this Gilbert today because he makes contact. They're looking for contact hitters. Buster's preached it. He talked about it all offseason when he took the job, that he wants to see guys hit and learn to hit in situations. When you watch the playoffs last year, all as you see is guys, situational hitting that go the other way with 2 strikes, man on second, nobody out. Just their whole focus was they went up there. They were just trying to hit a ground ball to the right side just to get the guy to third so they can have a higher odds of scoring. And the Giants, somebody wrote about it. They started off that way the first few weeks of the season. They were doing that. Remember, they were also hitting in runners in scoring position. They were leading baseball at one point with runners in hitting with runners in scoring position. So my concern is you're locked into Chapman. You're locked into Adames. You're locked into Devers. And if you don't trade Eldridge, you're probably locked into him. That's 4 guys. Ramos, I don't know if you're locked into him.
Like
Lee doesn't strike out though, but he doesn't hit. He doesn't hit.
Yeah.
He doesn't make loud contact enough. See, he's kind of a rollover.
So to get more of a balance, your right fielder and your second baseman, and if they decide to improve at catcher, maybe they they do need more balance in that. They can't have all these guys that strike out.
You can't because it kills all the rallies.
Right.
You can't. That's
all
why
the rallies.
They scored.
Yeah.
That's why they've scored 3 runs or less in half their games.
Over 51% now.
Yep. I think Posey knows this, and that's why he's drafting these players. But they're not going to be around. They're not going to be here for years. So they have to think about this when they're making these moves.
This Gilbert guy, I think they're thinking he might be a guy that's ready to play next year. Killeen, I think he's ready to play not next year, but the year after. I think they think he's got that kind of bat where he can make, these college hitters are making jumps to the majors right away now. We've seen it in Wyatt Langford. We see it in Nick Kurtz. We see it in a lot of college hitters that are coming out of the game. They're more advanced at hitting. So, but they do struggle, a lot of them in the beginning. So it takes a while. But I'm just concerned that this team doesn't have the right makeup of guys. You look at the Phillies, Schwarber, Harper, Castellanos. Those are all guys that got some power and they strike out. But they also have Trey Turner, who sets the table. They got other guys that'll get on base. Harper doesn't strike out as much as the Giants players do. I don't even know. I'm assuming by the eye test. Bryce Harper, as far as I know, that he might have just as high a strikeout rate as the Giants players, but he doesn't.
They have guys that fit the pie. There's 8 holes in the pie. They have 7 that can fit of the 8. The Giants have literally probably 2 that, 6 guys that fit in the same hole, but there's still other holes.
Okay, so Bryce Harper has been up 351 times this year, and now he missed quite a bit of time with his wrist or something, but 71 strikeouts in 351 plate appearances, 20%, much lower than 25. I mean, that's 5% more. So, yeah, so Harper's not that strikeout king that, and I think Kyle Schwarber may have cut down on his strikeouts this year too. Let me see what Schwarber's K rate is just for checking here. He has struck out 125 times in 477 plate appearances. That's close to 25. Yeah, 26%. So he's still a strikeout guy.
But he makes up for it.
Yeah, because he hits bombs. He hits dingers.
When you hit bombs, it's okay. But when you don't hit bombs, like all of the Giants players, how can you explain away striking out 26-30% of the time?
Yeah, you can't. You can't, and that's the problem. I mean, people look at Rafi Devers' stats and say, well, he has 17 homers. Well, he's got 2 with the Giants, and he's striking out 31% of the time. So I don't think Devers is himself. I think next year he's going to be a different player. I think if Rafi Devers is a bust at the trade deadline next year, I think you look to move him. But I'm not ready to do that today. I think
I have faith, but are you where he has 1 homer and 3 RBIs at Oracle?
Who, Devers?
Yeah.
He's got 2 homers.
The other one's on the road, I thought.
Nope. He got 1. He got 2 at home. He got 1 to left field against Boston, and he hit 1 to straightaway center. I can't remember who they were playing.
Okay. Sorry. I missed
Someone
it.
said today it was only 1, but maybe
that's
I remember seeing 2. Now I may be wrong, but I thought I saw 2. I thought he blasted 1 to center field.
Regardless, not enough.
Not enough, exactly. Not enough. But guys, it's tough, but we'll be back tomorrow, guys. Let me look at my schedule. We're going to do a trade deadline
hopefully
show
with a lot to talk about.
Yeah, are we doing a show because it ends at 3? So a show like or are we going to come in live like the last half an hour, at 3? It's going?
We're going to go live during this. Let me just look here at the. I got to look at my schedule tomorrow. 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10. So, yeah, we'll come on between 12 and 1 tomorrow. I'm not sure. We'll go to 3. We'll take it right up to the trade deadline at 3 o'clock Pacific time. Then I don't know if you're free to join us tomorrow, Dallas, or if you'll be working at that time. But
I'll check with the boss.
Okay, so I've got a few appointments in the morning, but we'll do a show tomorrow, trade deadline show, and we'll announce every trade that happens as they happen, just to give you an update on anything that is going on. Let me just double check with my guys. The last nothing new. Mason Miller has not officially been traded. Sounds like where there's smoke, there's fire. I think he may be going to San Diego or possibly Boston. He did not pitch tonight in a save situation. When you got a deal you're real close to, you don't want to have a guy go out there and blow his arm out and throw the whole deal off. It ruins things for both teams because you can have a deal in place like the Giants did. It sounds like with Tyler Rogers the day before, and you set things up, but you don't have to have it official. But you don't want no guys going out and throwing. Hey, look, we'll trade you this guy. Okay, we got it. Doesn't pitch tomorrow because a team makes plans. Like, let's say the Padres have a deal for Mason Miller, and they go out and the A's say, well, it's not official. We're still going to pitch him, and Miller gets messed up. Now the A's lose out. The Padres are pissed off. Now they got to go try and find somebody else, and it might not work out. So I think Miller's as good as gone.
And you might have 2 teams going to the A's. Hey, we'll give you this. No,
Plus,
Yeah.
it always waits till the end because people are trying to outbid each other, and you're trying to hoping to get a better deal, and you don't pull the trigger until you have to. So, I think there'll be a lot of movement right at the end of the deadline.
Yeah. Look at Suarez. I mean, imagine if Suarez broke his hand last night when he got hit or the night before.
Yeah.
That would have been awful. But guys, let's get out of here. We'll come back tomorrow. 1 o'clock will be the latest we'll come on. We could come on as early as 12, especially if the Giants have done something. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know where the Giants are going.
We know one thing: they will not lose tomorrow.
Yes,
we will
finally.
not be reporting a loss.
Yes, there we go. I definitely think, though, guys, they need to. And Dallas, stay with us afterwards. I want to chat with you. I think if they don't make any other moves, but maybe a minor move here or there, Verlander, Yaz, are you going to be feeling like the Giants messed up?
I think, yeah. I think they have some pieces they could. I mean, just if you look at the haul they just got for Rodgers, they could get a lot for some of these guys. So, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. Obviously, it takes two to make a deal, and you don't want to give up something like Doval, who you got control over for several years, if you think that it's going to work out. So, I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Hey, everybody, hit that like button. We got over 400 watching. Hit that like button. It helps the algorithms of the show. We really do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and we thank you. We'll be back tomorrow with the show for the trade deadline. Be looking out for that sometime at noon or 1 o'clock at the latest. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.